Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Castone, and this video, the purpose of this video is to give you a brief overview of our biology class for the upcoming school year 2020-2021 and kind of show you what virtual learning is going to look like in our class. So no matter if you're a parent or a student, I want you to be able to access my class and be able to understand what is being taught in biology this year. So the first thing that I'm showing you here is the West Efford High School webpage. You want to make sure that you are on the high school webpage and not the district webpage or any of the elementaries, because you are going to want to access my page for biology. So how you do that is you're going to click on the staff directory and you can come down to science, and I am listed last. So Mrs. Castone, you want to click on that. And what you're going to see here is a welcome page. Right here it says, how am I going to teach your child? And this video is actually going to be housed in this little rectangle right here. I don't have it here yet because I'm recording it right now. But if you are curious about what kind of topics I teach in biology and what kind of topics are mandated in the state of New Jersey and with the next gen science standards, all you have to do is scroll down on your computer and you can see that biology is structured into 4 units. So these 4 units are part of our next generation science standards. And you can see that Unit 1, we're focusing on structures and processes. Unit 2, inheritance and variation. Unit 3, natural selection and evolution. And Unit 4, ecosystems and energy and food webs. So if you're curious as to any of the topics that are taught within those units, all you have to do is click on the hyperlink and it sends you to a page where I have put in the actual page from the next gen standards, and you can see what actually needs to be taught. So you can actually make this bigger using your Control Plus function, or if you have a touch screen computer, you can just widen it. And I've listed here some of the topics that are going to be the focus of this unit. And when you click on these hyperlinks over to the side, you're going to be sent to various videos that we actually use in class. Now the lists here can change, but as a parent, if you're looking at this from a parent or a guardian standpoint, you can get a feel for what topics are going to be taught in biology to your child. And if you're looking at this from a student standpoint, a lot of this is going to go into our Google Classroom. So I'm going to go back to the home page. And when I go back here, if you scroll down, it says that there are going to be class calendars. So as a parent, if you're looking at this as a parent or a guardian, you'll want to click on these class calendars, and you'll also want to know what period is your child taking biology class. So my biology classes are in period 2, period 4, and period 7, and that's for CP biology. I do teach an AP biology, and if you're watching this as an AP biology student or an AP parent, there will be a separate page for you with a separate video. So this is centered around college prep biology at West Efford High School. And if you know that your child is in period 2, when you look at the calendar, you'll be able to see activities listed, assessments listed, what is going to be going on that day in the Google Classroom. So this is your way of knowing what is coming due and what has already been past due. Okay, so I'm also going to go into a little bit of a presentation, like something that I would give at back to school night, so that everybody is kind of in the know of what is going to happen in the virtual learning environment, at least to start out the 2020-2021 school year. So I am going to change my share screen here. And what you should be seeing right now is a Google slide presentation on the class. So this just says, welcome to biology 2020, 2021. Here is an emoji that's supposed to be me before I had to go 6 months without a haircut. But this, is supposed to represent our course. Now, this video pertains to any college prep biology class that I teach, and there are two types of college prep biology classes that I teach. There is one called In-Class Resource, or ICR, and those are taught with Mrs. Berth, and I do have one class that is non-ICR. So here I've listed what days will be synchronous live for each of those classes. So period 2 is from 8:30 to 9:15, and that is synchronous live on Tuesday, Thursdays. Period 4 is 10:10 to 10:55. That's also another ICR class, and that will be synchronous live on Tuesday, Thursdays as well. And Mrs. Berth will be joining us at those times because she is the co-teacher of that course. Period 7 is a non-ICR class, and they will be synchronous live from 1:20 to 2:05, and that's on Mondays and Wednesdays. Mrs. Berth is not a part of those classes. So that class is structured in a way that it just has one teacher. Now, again, if you're here for AP Biology, that's going to be on a different page with different information that relates to College Board. So, like I said, ICR Biology does have a second teacher as an extra resource in the class for any students that may have challenges in learning and needs that extra component in the class. However, some parents and guardians ask, well, what is the difference between the two classes? As far as the curriculum goes, the curriculum is the exact same. The curriculum is not altered between the two classes. So everything that you saw on that front page of the 4 units and what is taught is exactly the same, no matter what college prep biology course you're taking at West Deptford High School. However, the pacing may be a little different. Sometimes the ICR classes go at a slower pace in order to ensure more thorough understanding, especially for students with learning challenges. Or sometimes they end up going a little faster, than the regular college prep biology class. So it really depends, but we all get to the same ending point at the end of the year, is that we all cover the same topics. And there might be some enrichment in some areas, some reteaching in some areas. So it really depends on the landscape of the course. The assessments may differ between ICR and non-ICR classes. With assessment in our class, it is very rarely going to be a sit-down test, especially in a virtual environment. So I will be going over assessments in a few minutes just to, keep you aware of how your student is going to be assessed in the course. And then in ICR, Mrs. Berth is utilized as a second resource. So if you know that your student, your child, is having learning challenges, needs extra help, she is available as an extra resource to Zoom with, as an extra resource to contact, and she understands the methods and the ways that some students need to learn differently. And we work together on that so that, every student will be successful. So how is the material going to be presented? If we're not going to be in a live classroom, how's material going to be presented? Well, digital format has been at West Deptford for a very long time. We have been a one-on-one laptop district for over a decade. So it's nothing that's all that new, but without having a live teacher in the classroom, you may be wondering how is the student going to learn the lesson? We will have students join our Google Classroom, and every period will have its own Google Classroom. And then on Google Classroom, students will be expected on their non-live days, on their non-live classroom days, to view either Edpuzzle videos, YouTube videos. Now, Edpuzzle is a program where we can see if a student has watched the video, and it embeds questions in the videos so that the students can actually assess their understanding right then and there. So it's a really, really useful tool, especially for distance learning. There'll also be teacher-generated Zoom recordings. So when we're not live, I will be recording lessons, Mrs. Berth may be recording lessons, and then they'll be posted as well. And then, of course, we have the live Zoom sessions. I wrote Zoom on here, but we may also use Google Meet. It depends. There has been issues with Zoom lately and being down across the nation, but we do have backup methods there. And then, of course, worksheets and readings. So, you know, worksheets and readings have always been a part of our course. And we would post those to the Google Classroom, and they would supplement videos and lessons that we've already gone over with the students. So how will your student be assessed? In other words, how will we test them, so to speak? Well, like I said, we're not typically teachers in this course, me or Mrs. Berth, that have students do a sit-down test. So how we like to assess our students is we have them enter a program called Quizzes. And Quizzes is an online interactive quiz game, and it would have questions that are related to the topic that we're learning in class. Students get multiple attempts to play the game, and we say that they need to achieve an 80% proficiency in order to pass the quiz. In order to get 100% for that assignment, they need to get an 80 or above. So it's kind of a different threshold that we're setting. You don't have to get 100 to get 100, but if you get an 80, 80 and above, we give you 100. I'm going to stop my share screen for a second so that I can actually show you what Quizzes looks like. So it is a really fun feature. Students have had a lot of fun with Quizzes in the past. So hopefully this is going to show correctly. So what you're seeing right now is if I were going into a Quizzes game. I've set up a game. Now, one thing that we need students to do is we need them to use their real name, because otherwise we don't know who it is, who we should be giving credit to. So we do encourage students to use their full name. There could be repeat first names in the class. There could be repeat last names in the class. So use the full name, and then you would log in and you would hit start. So this is actually what a Quizzes game would look like. I would hit start. There would be a due date on the quizzes. There's usually music playing. They can do this right on their phone. So all of the following contain a cell wall except. So I would need to pick the answer that does not have a cell wall. And I know that animal cells do not have a cell wall. So I would click on that and it marks me correct. And then it goes on to the next type of question. What type of cell has a nucleus? And I know that that is eukaryotic. So I would click on that. So students are timed a little bit, but again, they do get multiple attempts to play the game and to get the score that they need to get in order to get full credit for the quizzes. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and hopefully it's going to go back to the PowerPoint that I had. Okay, other ways that your student is going to be assessed is through writing prompts. We will be asking them to write those English language arts skills need to be embedded in every single course. So writing prompts will be questions based on topics that they've already learned, and they will need to express their mastery to us in order to show that they are reaching those college level skills. Ed puzzle questions, again, the Ed puzzle videos have questions embedded in them, and students will need to answer them as they go along to show that they're paying attention, to show that they're actually going through the video. Sometimes we'll have Q&A right on Zoom. So if a student is not on their live webcam, then we'll ask questions to make sure that they can participate. And if a student is live on their webcam, we will also ask questions. So students are expected to be participatory during Zoom sessions. Finally, we are going to have students compile a portfolio. So a portfolio would be a collection of the student's work or a collection of findings that the student will have guidelines for throughout the year, and they will be related to topics that we've learned in class. So something that could go in a portfolio would be something like, you know, go find either a Google image of a plant or find a plant outside of your house and take a picture of it, upload it into Google Slides, and give us a brief description of, you know, how this relates to biology, or how it relates to photosynthesis, or how it relates to some topic of biology, you know, and there'll be really specific guidelines for that. But we do like to use portfolio assessment as well. So finally, how can parents and guardians help out? You know, it's fairly simple, but, you know, we are all going through this new and different time together. So as a parent or a guardian, you just want to make sure that your child is logging on to the live synchronous lessons. You know when those lessons are going to be for your student, and then encourage them to log in. You know, we will be taking attendance. We will be looking for participation, and you want to make sure that your student is set up for success. Some students need extra help with organizing those types of things, maybe make a schedule, a calendar that says, you know, this is the day that we're going to be going live. I will have it in the Google Calendar, but a student would need to log in to be able to see that in the Google Calendar. As a parent or guardian, you should have your login for PowerGrade. If you do not, you should contact the guidance office and get it. Parents need to be able to log into PowerGrade and see if there's any zeros on the book. If there's a zero, then we don't have the assignment, or it's been you know, pretty far past its due date. So as a parent, you know, logging into PowerGrade is really important so that there's no surprises, especially towards the end of a marking period. As a parent, you can also connect to our Google Classroom, and you can get a weekly report of the student progress. It will come into whatever email you have registered with Google Classroom. If you have a Gmail, then that's going to connect to it really nicely. But you will get a weekly report, and it will show what your student completed and what they didn't complete. You won't be able to look in their Google Classroom exactly unless you have their actual login. And some students don't show that kind of stuff to their parents. So that's a conversation that you need to have with your child. But there is this weekly report that you can get. If you sense that there's any problems, or you wonder how your child is doing, you need to email the teachers as soon as possible to remediate any problems. Our emails are found right on the webpage. If it's for the ICR class, it would be my email and Mrs. Berth's email. So you want to make sure that you CC both of us on that email. And if it's for the non-ICR class, it would just be an email to me. And then, of course, talk to your child. Ask them, what are they learning in biology? A lot of times teenagers aren't forthcoming with information. They just say, oh, I don't know, something. But try to engage them. That's why I made the website of all the topics that we learned. You could ask your student, well, is it a topic in Unit 1? Is it about cells? Are you learning about ecosystems? You know, try to engage them. I know it can be difficult as a parent to engage your child in conversations, but the more you try to talk to them about what they're going through and what they're learning, I think it really would open up a lot of doors to conversation about what's even going on in our world right now. So I'm going to go ahead and end this screen. And again, if you have any issues, please feel free to reach out to me, or if it's for one of the ICR classes, please CC Mrs. Berth also on the email.